Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us this evening with Kelly's Choice. My name is Emma Harwood and I am a dietetic intern for Kelly's Choice, and I will be leading your cooking demo this evening. With Memorial Day weekend coming up, there is no better recipe than our maple apple turkey burgers we will be making tonight. These are so delicious that you can cook up on the grill, on the stove, that everyone will be able to enjoy together. So the ingredients you will need are going to be some sea salt, garlic powder, paprika, pepper, maple syrup, rosemary, 1 cup of apples, and of course your ground turkey. And the materials you're going to need, your kitchen supplies, look for a medium-sized mixing bowl, a cutting board to chop up your apples with a knife, of course. And then over on the stove, you're going to need a pan, which you will be cooking your burgers in. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, I'm going to add our ground turkey to my mixing bowl. We're going to use ground turkey for this recipe because it is a lot leaner than ground beef. So that's going to help you get way less saturated fat in your diet than if you were to eat a burger with ground beef. So you want to look for lean ground turkey. So that would be anywhere from a 93.7% lean, 95.5, or 90.10 are all great options for lean sources of animal protein. From there, I'll go ahead and add in our spice mixture. And this is 1/4 teaspoon of all of the spices I mentioned before. So we'll go ahead and add that to our mixing bowl. And then here, I'm also going to chop up my rosemary. I had about 2 tablespoons worth of it. So I just picked them off the rosemary stems that you can find in these packages here. And I'm just going to mince them into tiny pieces. Can be a little tough, but they'll just mix into the ground turkey a lot better this way. I love using herbs and spices to season my burgers because they provide so many antioxidants, which are anti-inflammatory, and that is really, really healthy for our cells. And it's also a great way to get in lots of added flavor without using so much salt. We're going to go ahead and add the rosemary to our mixing bowl. And finally, I have pre-chopped up these Granny Smith apples. You want them to be very, very fine, very, very tiny mince like that, just so that they all cook evenly in the burger mixture once you whip them up on the stove. I used Granny Smith apples for this recipe because they'll add sort of a tart flavor to the burgers, which I personally really, really like, but feel free to use your favorite apples. So go ahead and add 1 cup to our mixture. And then the last ingredient going into our mixing bowl is going to be 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. And if you can, it's really advised that you should use pure maple syrup. This is going to be way less than those added sugars that you're going to find in more processed maple syrups in the store. This is actually a local to New York brand that I have here. So just 1 tablespoon to our burger mixture. All right. Plus, it'll add a little sweetness to your burgers too, which will be super tasty. So after you have all your ingredients in your mixing bowls, I just use my hands and you're gonna mix all those ingredients together very nicely, very evenly, so that all the spices and all the apples are combined with the ground turkey. And I normally never would have thought that you can add apples or any kind of fruit to a burger recipe, but these are so tasty that I'm sure that will change your mind too. And apples are so healthy for us, as I'm sure you've definitely heard before, but they are a fantastic source of fiber, which is going to help keep us full for longer, especially when we pair it with a protein source like the ground turkey. And apples actually contain a certain fiber called pectin, which helps us lower our blood pressure, as well as our bad cholesterol, which is known as our LDL cholesterol. So two really awesome things apples do, in addition to being wonderful sources of vitamin C and E, as well as vitamin A and potassium. All right. So once our burger mixture is all mixed together, just like so, you are going to divide it into 4 sections because this recipe makes 4 burgers. So just kind of divide it with my hands. And then once you get one section of your ground turkey mixture, just gonna form it into a patty. Like I said, I use it with my hands. Super, super simple. And then once you form your patty, I'm going to place it on a separate plate right here that I will bring over. And this is what I'll put all my burgers on before I transfer them over to the stove. There we go. These smell so good too, by the way. I love switching up my burger recipes because it's definitely a meal that I like to enjoy all summer long with my family and my friends. So it's really great that you can switch out all these different meat sources as your source of protein. Like I said earlier, ground turkey is going to be lower in saturated fat, as well as ground chicken. You can use either of those in this recipe, actually, as a swap for ground beef. So there are our burgers. These are a little big, so let's add some extra to these 2 over here. Like I said, it's kind of a ballpark with your hands, but does make 4 servings. So try and make your patties as even as possible. There we go, and one more. All right, perfect. Then after doing that, I like to just rinse my hands off really quickly. You don't want to spread germs in the kitchen when you're working with food at all, especially raw meat. So never forget to wash your hands before you start and in between any tasks like this when you're handling raw meat. All right, so after your hands are clean, this is where we actually get to cooking our turkey burgers. So I'm just gonna bring them over to the stove here. And then I am gonna cook them in about 1 tablespoon of avocado oil. And I like to use avocado oil because it has a higher smoke point, which means you can heat it up over a higher temperature and it won't burn or turn into a trans fat. So avocado oil is going to be my choice today. You can also use olive oil, whatever works for you, but my biggest suggestion would be avocado oil if possible. I'm just going to turn on my stove. You're going to want to cook them about over medium heat. Go ahead and add our about a tablespoon. I like to mix the oil around too, just so it spreads evenly over the pan. And then I'll let that heat up for just a minute before I put my turkey burgers on. And then you're going to cook them for about 5 to 7 minutes on each side. It may take a little bit longer than it would over the grill, but you can grill these as well, which is what I would love to do on a better, sunnier day than it is today. So we'll head to the stove now and I'll go ahead and put them on. All right, so as they are cooking, I also like to flatten them down with a spatula just to help them cook a little bit longer, and that way the insides also get nice and cooked as well. Perfect. And as those are cooking, you can eat these in so many different ways. You can toss them in a salad and chop them up and put them in as your source of protein if you're looking for a lower carb option. I made regular size burger patties, but if you wanted to do smaller sliders, then they would be a perfect addition to slider buns. And then a great way to get more veggies in your diet is to top them with spinach or any type of leafy green, as well as tomato slices, pickles, onions, tomatoes, you name it, the options are endless. Like I said, those will cook for about 5 to 7 minutes on each side, and then we will flip them over to cook on the other side. And I'll take you over so you can see them cooking. Right after I wash my hands. So this is what they will look like as they are cooking. You want to make sure that they cook fully on both sides. And you can also cover them up with a lid for your pan if you want them to cook a bit longer. That'll help the insides of the burger patties cook faster than actually just leaving them out in the open. Go ahead and put my cover on. They tend to cook pretty fast, so this is also a great, quick weeknight meal like we're doing right now that your whole family can honestly enjoy. And as far as other toppings, what you can pair this meal with, it goes great with a side of any kind of cooked or steamed vegetables, as well as a fruit salad, a pasta salad, a side salad with a bunch of veggies. You can this meal will go with lots of side dishes, so it'll be a great staple all summer long. Check on them. Might need to turn the heat down just a bit because it does tend to, they do tend to cook very quickly. And then don't ever forget to turn on your vents as well. And I'm also going to add just a little bit more oil if they tend to be burning a little bit quickly or sticking to the pan at all. Just adding a tad more oil will do the trick. I'll bring you over again and show you how they are cooking up. So you can see they're definitely browning up and we're almost getting there. I will go ahead and put the cover on one more time to help the middle of those burgers cook up, as I mentioned before. And another important thing to note when you're trying to decide what type of burger buns to buy, you're going to want to go with 100% whole wheat. And this is because whole wheat products are going to be way more nutrient dense than your white bread products. And sometimes slider buns are very difficult to find in whole wheat. So yes, your white products are definitely fine in moderation, but 50% of the time you're going to want to choose your whole grains, as these are going to be way more nutrient dense, which means they give you more nutrients rather than calories, which the white bread products would do. They are cooking up really, really nicely, and they're smelling really good. My family was very excited to hear I was doing this cooking demo tonight because they knew I was cooking dinner and that this would be an option they would really enjoy. And if anyone has any questions or had any questions that got brought up during this webinar, please feel free to reach out to us at Kelly's Choice, and any of the dietitians would be happy to answer your questions. So I think they will need just a few more minutes. And like I said, this recipe will serve 4 people. You can find this recipe on Kelly's website at kellyschoice.org under maple apple turkey burgers for the exact step-by-step directions. And if you have more than 4 people in your family, you can just double the recipe, and that also would give you a few leftovers possibly. And then they're almost done cooking, so I'm just going to grab a new plate to transfer them onto, because like I said before, we definitely don't want to put them back on the plate that we placed them on when they were raw, because that could definitely cause some foodborne illnesses. We always want to practice that safe kitchen use and behavior. So I think they are definitely done. I will transfer them over to the plate and show you our final product. So here we have our delicious looking maple apple turkey burgers. They smell so delicious, and I cannot wait to eat these tonight. I hope you all enjoyed this cooking demo, that you find you'll use this recipe this summer for all your summer get-togethers or just fun family dinner nights. Again, my name was Emma, and I am so excited to have been here for Kelly's Choice and to do this cooking demo for you. I hope you all have a wonderful evening.